Good morning, everybody. How are we doing? Sammy United People's TV. The team's flying out for the pre-season tour today. I need to close that because that's a bit distracting. Let's do this. Let's do that. Let's pretend that never happened. It was a perfect start to the show. Anyway, that's better. Man United are flying out to America today for the pre-season tour. We'll know the squad later on. Hoyland was back in training. Xerxes is expected to be part of the squad. But today, as always, we're going to be focusing on transfers. Manchester United locked in negotiations over Ugarte. So, how much? How much, PSG? How much? All right, see you later. Anyway, we're going to speak about the latest reports on Ugarte, the latest reports on Ligt. And we as United fans, we want early signings, but at the same time, we want Manchester United to not just be bent over in negotiations. And it's kind of, we're reaching a little bit of a clash point. It's not the right way to describe it. Anyway, I'll run through and I'll discuss it. There's loads of stuff. As always, every single morning, there is loads of stuff for us to discuss. You get your comments in throughout the show. I will try and answer as many questions and queries and comments as I possibly can throughout it. You know the drill by now. Who's here from the Mod Gang? Let's have a look. Good morning to you, Carl. Good morning to you, Sigmund, as well. How you doing, man? Josh, you're there as always. JVD, you're there. How you doing, buddy? Who's here from the member gang? We've got Teresa. Good morning to you. We've got Warren David. We've got Russ Williams. We've got Vic, Selekas Fizz, Brian. We've got Gavin and Robert on Facebook. Mal Dooley, good morning to you. And Cecilia. New names, old names. The community is growing. Who's looking forward to the pre-season tour? I always say I'm not, and then as soon as it comes around, I'm like, okay, I get to watch United again. First game against Rosenborg was, we don't really need to speak about that game. Game against Rangers, significantly better. First half and second half, two different teams, and I enjoyed both halves. But anybody see this yesterday? Let's get into the show. This is the new Old Trafford tunnel. So that's down here. They've changed the... I put it on Twitter yesterday. I was like, oh, look, fine. It's a little bit better than a red tent. But that's actually further back, isn't it? This area here is like the media area after the games. This is where the two teams line up before they walk out of the tunnel. I mean, it's just refreshed. That's all it is. It's not anything groundbreaking. It's not something that's worthy of me doing an entire video on. Yeah, but it's just nice to have a new lick of paint, I suppose. And as I said to you before, any player who's been at Manchester United, whether it's 1 year, whether it's one game they've walked through that tunnel, they're going to look at it and go, oh, cool, this feels new. Nice. And it's just reflective that that's kind of happening everywhere around our club. I like it. Now, let's move on to speak about 1%. Exactly, Brian. That's exactly what I called it. That right there, ladies and gents, is properly the definition of a marginal gain from Dave Brailsford. I've already said that before. Like, there's no point in creating a whole article about how incredible this different... But it might make 1% of difference. And if that 1% of difference can be matched up with all these 4 or 5 different other things that all make 1% of difference, you do the maths, that makes a big difference. All of them collectively. It does make a difference. I think so anyway. I understand it. I'm really excited about this signing. All right. Fabrizio's confirmed that Obi Martin is going to be leaving Arsenal as a free agent. I believe Bayern Munich want to sign him. But kind of all the reports that we've been seeing have been suggesting that he wants to join Manchester United. He wants to stay in England. And if that is the academy signing that we make this summer, that is a massive... I mean, it won't be the only one. Although I think we've got some new scholars in. Was it last summer? If I'm correct, we got the Fletcher twins. And who else was it we signed last summer? I swear there was someone else that was a really good signing. Was it Harry Amass? I think we signed him from Watford. I think that's what happened last summer. And those three players are players that we're really speaking about. Obi Martin will definitely be in that category. Obviously, he absolutely nailed the under-18s last season, scoring for them. I think he scored 32 goals for Arsenal. But let's find out. It really looks like he's going to be joining United, though, as it stands. Now, I wanted to have a little conversation here. Before we go into the news, we're going to start with Ligt. This here is Desire Doué. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Let's call him Desire. Desire. Anyway, surely if you sign him, you've got to do that as a chant. I know it's Will Griggs on fire, but just make it better. Anyway, Man United would link with a move for him, just like we've been linked with moves for, I don't know, 90 people. You can see he's there on the board of the attackers? Where is he? Have I taken him off the board? No, he's over there. He's on the attackers right towards the bottom, under Leao, Gyökeres, Watkins, and Doué. We were linked with him, and clearly an extremely good talent. But have you seen how much he's going for? Right? Fabrizio here confirming that Bayern Munich have put in a second bid for him worth over 50 million with add-ons. And then on top of that, this morning, you've got reports from France saying that PSG are going to come back in with an even bigger bid. It is mad how much teenagers... we paid 62 million up front for Yenny... I was about to say Yenny Loro there. Lenny Yoro. It's just... I've spoken about this before. Teenagers are so much more, it feels, rounded as professionals by the time they're 18 than they ever were before. And clubs are paying a premium for it. 60 million plus for him. Ash, when you're asking, is he a generational talent? Well, that gets banded around a lot. It got banded around a lot with Lenny Yoro, and hopefully for justified reason, which we'll find out. But I thought, when we were linked with Doué, I thought, it's an exciting prospect, but 60 mil? Damn. That's a lot of dough. And then even further than that, look at this, right? Just a little random one. But George Ilenic, what's it? Is that an I or an L? Ilenic Henna? Anyway, the 17-year-old striker plays for Antwerp in Belgium. And you've even got players who are 17 being signed by Monaco for 20 million euros. It's like, man. I think it's the trends, and I've said, again, this has been going on for quite a few years. The trend has been for a long time that when you sign a player who's got potential, you don't just sign a player and pay for what he's worth now. You pay a premium for what he could be worth in a few years' time, and you kind of pay that up front. Like 20 mil for a 17-year-old from Belgium as well. Is that mad? Anyway, speaking of mad, this is going to annoy you, because it certainly annoyed me. We know, and we've heard the discussions around the fact that Getafe have earned 20% of Mason Greenwood's sale to Marseille, which is frustrating. It's basically a really weird deal that Richard Arnold and John Murtough agreed, like kind of a fire sale to get rid of Greenwood. They agreed to sell on 20% of him. You know what's even worse than that? Look at this. The clause actually extends to 20% of all of United's potential future earnings. So not only are Manchester United giving Getafe 20% of the sale to Marseille, but if he's then sold on, they get 20% of that as well. Presumably the profits of it. So, we've got that deal with the exit of Greenwood. We'll get 50% of any future profits on Greenwood. It turns out that Getafe get 20% of that as well. Man, Getafe signed a deal and a half. My word, that's such a bad deal. How on earth did they manage to... Maybe they asked for it, maybe they were offered it by Murtough and Arnold, but not only do they get 20% of his move to Marseille, but if he goes somewhere else and for 100 million to Barcelona in the future, they get 20% of that too. They're laughing. They really are laughing. What a ridiculous deal. Anyway, I wanted to moan about that. Let's move on. And let's speak about Ligt. I can see you're all equally as annoyed as me, man. Whew. Yeah, but Amy's saying that's how percentage of all that's how percentages work. Yeah, I know, but that should not be in the Getafe. I think you could, if you wanted to, you could argue that they deserve 20% of his move to Marseille because they helped the value of the player and developed only one player of the season there. Fine, okay, right, cool. If you want to argue that, you can argue that. But 20% of all sales past that, when he's not even at that club, that's a bonkers clause to allow in a contract. It really isn't it? There ain't no way that's happening again under Ashworth, Barada, and co. But De Ligt, right? De Ligt is someone, if you go to the active board, I didn't actually update that this morning, so this might be slightly out of date. We know full well that we've put in the first bid. I covered it on Monday, I think it was. 35 million euros. It's not enough for what Bayern Munich want. And we find ourselves in a situation with De Ligt that I think you can apply to Ugarte. Right? We've got Yoro in, done. We've got Xerxes in, done. And the two players that we are most heavily linked with are, as I said, Ugarte and De Ligt. I mean, we're equally as linked with Branthwaite, but yeah, I don't think we're going to go back in with a bid that's big enough to tempt Everton away. If they are as stubborn as they're seemingly, being reported, maybe late in the window they change their mind in the same way that Newcastle was stubborn about the 20 mil for Ashworth until PSR deadline came knocking. But what's your take on all of this? Because this is where it gets interesting, right? And I almost feel like this might be worthy of a lunchtime video. As United fans, we want United to get the signings done early, get them into the preseason squad, give them as much time to settle, give Ten Hag and coaches as much time with those players as possible before the season starts. That's how you prepare yourselves properly, which is completely correct. And then on the other hand, we want Manchester United to be more powerful in the summer window, in transfer windows. We have to get better at the values that we get for players we're selling, which we still have to get better at. And also, when it comes to signing players, we don't want our club to overpay anymore. So we kind of loggerheads. There you go. We're at this kind of feels like a stalemate over De Ligt and Ugarte. And we're going to speak about De Ligt first, right? The suggestion is that they want 50 mil plus bonuses. And that has been a consistent number that's been reported about De Ligt this whole time. Right, you've got Simon Stone from the BBC reporting that right now, talks around De Ligt have failed to reach a positive conclusion. Plettenberg from Germany is reporting that United have offered less than 40. We know that's 35 mil, 30 plus 5. That's what was reported from Bild on Monday. United clearly don't want to go to 50 mil plus bonuses. Although, honestly, if that was to happen at that price, I don't think that's a price that's like outrageous for De Ligt. If I'm being totally honest, 50 million euros is 42 million pounds plus 5 mil in bonuses. If we win the league, you get an extra payment. You know what I think about those. I really don't care about bonus payments when it's based on United doing well, because if we've done well, the signing worked out. Here, have $1 million. Don't care. We won the league as a consequence. But where do you stand on this De Ligt situation? Because there's going to be fans that are frustrated that we haven't signed more players earlier. And then there's also probably those same fans who want Manchester United to be more powerful in negotiations. So it's like, which one do you want more? Which one's more important to you at this point? Is it getting him in as soon as possible, doesn't matter what the price is, or is it United winning the negotiations? Because I don't think you can have both. And that is a very interesting one. Let me see what you're saying down here in the comments. Seven Samurai, how you doing, buddy? So, morning, Sam. Do you think there's a possibility to trade Sancho for Ugarte straight swap? Hey, man, we spoke about that yesterday. And, I mean, it's an ideal situation. It's genuinely an ideal situation because the market value of Jadon Sancho is way higher than we can get for him. If we sold him, we'd have to undersell him this summer. And if we'll speak about Ugarte next, but if I had a pair of glasses on, when teachers look over the top of the glasses and they're annoyed at you, that's what I'm feeling like with this Ugarte stuff. Let me see what you're saying down here. Shay Rash, you're saying winning negotiations. So is Michael. Seems too cheap, says Steve. I don't know what you mean. Aaron, you're saying negotiating. We need to set a new precedent going forward. Well, it feels like a precedent was set with Ashworth. Like we clearly won that. Not only did we not have to pay the money that Newcastle wanted, he started immediately. Yeah, lads, well done. You might have wasted our time, but from the 1st of July, we got what we wanted. So we won that one. Xerxes was easy. That was a release clause. We added 2.5 mil on top, so we didn't have to pay everything up front. Fine. Easy. Euro, we went in big and strong. We went in confident. And we signed a player that nobody thought we were going to sign. But in terms of how much we paid top dollar for it. Liam, you want United to make a stand. I think I do as well. To a certain level, or to a certain degree, because I would rather United... It's kind of what we did with Branthwaite. This whole time, when it comes to... We're talking about Ligt, right? We were linked with Todibo first, and then that fell through. And then we were linked with Branthwaite. We put 2 bids in, and then that's currently fallen. Well, it's basically fallen through, because Everton won't agree to our price. And then we're looking at Ligt, and we seem to be moving on rather than just focusing on one target. But Ligt absolutely is going to fall into the same category as this man. Well, currently anyway. And we'll speak about Ugarte next. Mark, you're saying United should not bend to the demands. Short-term pain for long-term gain. It's completely correct, but watch how frustrated United fans will get when we haven't made signings quick enough, because we're locked in negotiations and we don't. And this is the, as I said, the difficulties of a transfer window, if you want to call it that. Because United both need early signings and also to gain power back in negotiations. Sometimes you can't do both of those things, 2 things at the same time. Halftime Oranges, how you doing, buddy? Saying we need a left centre-back. Ligt was only worth paying up for if we didn't get Euro as our right centre-back option, so either get him cheap or not at all. I would say that Ligt is... He could easily play left centre-back and right centre-back. I think he'd probably be the most confident and comfortable doing it out of Martinez, Euro, and then Ligt. But he's certainly not a left-sided centre-back in the way that, David Hanko from Feyenoord, he could play left-back if he needed to. He could play left centre-back if he needed to. But Ugarte is probably... if we're calling for... It feels like we've got more ability to kind of dig our heels in over Ligt. Bayern Munich need to sell. All right? It's not as if Bayern Munich is in this perfect position. They haven't got to sell any of the players. They're all under mega contracts. We're fine. No, they need money because they want to spend, and they cannot spend until they sell. Hence why we're in talks over Mazraoui. I'll speak about him a little bit later. And also, Ligt. So I think United have probably got more power to, and the fact that we've already signed Euro, probably got more power to delay this Ligt situation than we do around Ugarte. Now, we need a central midfield signing. I would argue 2, because I think we need to get, what I think? Hannibal should be leaving, Casemiro should be leaving, Eriksen should be leaving. And if such a substantial offer comes in that we can't reject it this summer, then McTominay should be going as well and replaced inside the squad, which I think you would be able to do. But Ugarte, right? Man United have agreed personal terms with Ugarte. That happened on Friday, I think. Was it Friday? I think it was. Or Thursday, can't remember. Easily the most advanced of any midfielder that we've been looking at so far this summer. And this is what the reports suggest from yesterday, right? Fabrizio saying United are still in discussion with Ugarte. We've given the green light. He wants to join. Personal terms agreed. No agreement between the clubs. United are also in talks to maybe proceed on new terms for Amrabat, which we can speak probably a little bit more detail later. But look at this, right? Again from Florian Plettenberg from Sky Sports Germany. United have made several verbal offers for Ugarte. There's no bid that's gone in yet. It's all just been negotiations between the clubs. There's no actual formal offer, but they have been too low. And you have to rub your eyes at this. And am I definitely reading this right? PSG are still demanding at least 70 million euros for Ugarte. And you kind of sit back and you go, have I read that right? 70 million euros. They signed him for 60 million euros. Thereabouts. And his stock this is what I said on Twitter yesterday. His stock has hardly risen at PSG. Had a strong start when he came in. Was a very good signing for a few months. then fell out of favour under Luis Enrique. And then I think it was Fabian Ruiz and Vitinha ended up being used more often because they had more to their progressive game. And PSG need to sell this summer in order to fund their moves for at least João Neves, but maybe Osimhen as well. He's getting linked. They need monies. And this idea that you'd honestly laugh. I mean, maybe I wouldn't laugh in PSG's face. Well, type it in the comments. What is... Sorry. What is a good price for Ugarte? I don't even know what the actual suggestion is, but I'll tell you what isn't a good price. 70 mil. 70 million euros is a see you later, walk away price. It's not quite as bad as Newcastle demanding 20 million for Ashworth, but it's like unreasonable. You know, in the same way that how much for Branthwaite? I mean, that's never happening. And I don't think Everton want it to happen. That's the key difference here. Everton are trying to scare clubs off in the same way that Dortmund scared clubs off Sancho in the summer. They didn't want to sell him. Hence why they put a nuts off. I think it was 120 mil they asked United for. We did offer 85. But PSG need to sell Ugarte. They want to sell Ugarte. They need money for a player they're trying to replace. Yet they're still putting a 70 million euro price on his head. Odd behaviour. Really, I mean, there is honestly this is like negotiations. United goes, how much you're never getting that ever. I really do hope that somehow this is a Ugarte and Sancho swap deal. Let me see what you're saying down here for the price. 45 mil says Lawrence. 50 mil including add-ons. 35 to 40 or walk away says Origami. Water. The amber nectar. Anyway. Nino, I bet you're happy with that one. You got to be kidding me. Yeah. 2 out of 10? 2 out of 10. You can do better than that. 45 mil says Anuj. I think 45 is probably where I would be. I think so anyway. 45 rising to 50 if you want it to be. Don't care about the add-ons. I make that abundantly clear. But it's just like, good luck to PSG. But again, this is, in the same way that there has to be a walk-away value from any transfer. Ligt isn't so incredible that Man United can't possibly walk away and find someone else. I think Lenny Yoro was probably that level of player where United could walk away from Lenny Yoro if we didn't agree on the price, but there wouldn't really be an alternative to him in the market. It's kind of a unique opportunity. That's why we paid top dollar for him. De Ligt, I think United could move on from De Ligt and happily sign another right-sided centre-back or a different centre-back, and our squad would still be improved. And I think the same thing applies to Ugarte. I can see I've already got the transfer profile prepared on Ugarte, and I can see a lot of the logic of signing him. I can also see why some fans would prefer Zubimendi. And it really kind of... And the thing I find strange about the central midfielders that we've currently been linked with. Let's go to the link board, right? You got Fofana there, you got Zubimendi, you got Rios, you got Simons, you got Rabiot. Zubimendi and Ugarte are like totally different styles of players, ultimately. Zubimendi is more in the Frenkie de Jong mould. Playmaker from deep. Great at receiving the ball with his back to the opposition, facing goal, progressing the ball forwards, ball carrying. That's like the fundamental strength of his game. Ugarte is your destroyer. I'm going to start a poll here. Choose one. Right? I think we did this on Twitter yesterday. It's always interesting to see what people think. I'll speak about Fofana next. I'm just speaking about Zubimendi and Ugarte right now. Because I find it a little bit confusing that, if it's correct, I find it a little bit confusing why Man United are getting linked so heavily with both of these two players, considering they are very different types of players. It's not to say that Zubimendi doesn't have any sort of tackling ability. No, he does. It's not to say that Ugarte doesn't have any sort of passing ability. He does, but Ugarte is first and foremost an absolute destroyer. Zubimendi, first and foremost, is a fantastic progressor of the ball and a recycler of possession. And they're two very different profiles. I think that's why I'm finding it curious that we're getting linked with both of them. I'll leave that poll up for a little bit and I'll come back to it soon. Now, Fofana, right? Fabrizio here saying, look, there's links with Fofana, there's links with Anderson. The main names that United are looking at in midfield currently are Ugarte and Amrabat. No mention of Zubimendi. And we move on to the next talking point, which is Fofana. And maybe I'll do a full story on Fofana today. That could be a good video to do. I think that might do well, actually, in terms of helping steer the conversation. Not steer the conversation, but just having a conversation around him. I think that's a good idea. Well done, Sam. Pat myself on the back there. Jason's saying down there, why not sign both? Well, it's about funds, I suppose. There's no way that United are able to afford Ugarte and Zubimendi, considering they're both 40 to 60, somewhere in the 40 to 60 million range. Fofana's a lot cheaper. Although apparently more expensive now. We were linked with Fofana. Probably, it feels like the Fofana links came right at the start of the window. I think it's when we were kind of looking at market opportunities. And it was abundantly clear that he wasn't going to sign a contract with Monaco. This is the last summer where they can sell him. They're going to cash in. Monaco with Fofana is the same situation as Manchester United this summer with Wan-Bissaka. United have decided clearly that we don't want to lose Wan-Bissaka for free, so we're looking at replacing him with the right back, whether that's Mazraoui or Vanderson or somebody else. Not for Impong, not for Impong. It ain't going to happen for Impong. But Fofana, right? The latest here from DiMarzio. Fofana heavily linked with AC Milan. He's saying that now, as well as AC Milan, United and Atletico Madrid are both in for him. And you can see down there, that price has gone up a little bit. Sorry, I got a cough. That's better. And the report here, right? Saying that Milan is working as a priority with signing Youssouf Fofana, and that the price now has gone up to 35 million euros. Now, originally, I believe the first time we were linked with Fofana, the price was around... Man, it was ridiculously cheap for the player that he was, or is. I think it was around about 20 million euros. You know, in the same way that Kefren Thuram left Nice and joined Juve for 20 million euros. That's what we all thought Fofana was. And for me, on paper, Fofana is... Like, if Manchester United, just hypothetical here, right? But if Manchester United were to sell Scott McTominay and sign Fofana, I think that's a massive, massive technical upgrade in the squad in midfield. Fofana is good as a number 6. He's good as a number 8. He's more like a number 8. He's like an all-round midfielder. He's not as strong as Ugarte is defensively as a number 6. He's not as strong as Zubimendi is at progressing the ball forward, but he's a very good all-round midfielder. And for the price of 20 million, made a lot of sense. Even at 35 million euros, you'd still be getting a very good signing. And especially if you sell Hannibal, Eriksen, Casemiro. We're talking about squad upgrades here. What do you think is going to happen on Fofana? As I said, it feels like the right time. I'll do a full story on that. I think that's a good one to do. I see him as a potentially... If we were to sign Fofana, in my opinion, he would come in as a squad player in midfield, and may well it comes straight into the starting 11, depends on whether or not we signed anybody else. I would personally look at Fofana and say, in isolation, I don't think Fofana would be enough in terms of midfield signings this summer. Yeah, you can go down there and say he's an alternative to Onana. I mean, Onana's greatest strength, in my opinion, was his ability out of possession, which is where I thought United's biggest weakness was, which is why I thought that Onana would be a good signing, and I think it's going to be an amazing signing for Villa. I think they're going to be a much better team because of him. Origami, you get down there saying Fofana's a box-to-box midfielder. And look, if you even go... Let's have a quick look at this. Just out of curiosity. Have a look at his heat map from last season at Monaco. Because I'm guessing he's all over. Well, point proven. Right? This is Fofana's heat map from Monaco last season. That's the point I'm trying to make. He moves about. He is an active, mobile central midfielder. He's not somebody who you would really kind of put in a double pivot alongside Mainu. Or maybe you would if you're going to have two players who really dovetail. One goes forward, the other one stays back. I think the signing of Fofana would be very good. That's the wrong one. But I think we need more than just him this summer. That's just my personal opinion. I'm going to go down and read some of your comments here. What's Fofana done to date? Forget Onana. He is so average. Well, Jonathan, you're feeling chippy this morning. It's not just about signing the... Fofana, for me, is one of those floor-raising signings in terms of the squad build. In terms of where we're moving towards with this football style. McTominay out. Or Hannibal out, or Ericsson out. Actually, I'll probably put those first. But getting one of those out, and we move forward with Fofana, I think that's a squad upgrade. I really do. We need to bring in Adam Wharton, says JH. Man, Crystal Palace. You know how Benfica over the last few years have absolutely nailed South American signings in terms of spotting talent, bringing them in, and then selling them on for a huge profit. Crystal Palace have been the best, probably I would say, at spotting talents from the Championship and bringing them through. Adam Wharton's the latest one from Blackburn Rovers. Then you've got Eze, who's from QPR, I think. Big up, James. You've got Elise. You've got Gehi as well. Man, they've got an excellent hit rate. United probably couldn't do that, if I'm honest. So there's probably going to be special players that could jump from the Championship up to Manchester United. But, man, there's so much talent everywhere. And I think that's probably where I stand on Ugarte, by the way. I'm going to go back and let me pull this up here again. Let's have a look at the poll. 1,000 votes are in, and 65% of you are saying you'd rather Ugarte than Zubimendi. So you'd rather the aggression and the ball winner, first and foremost, than the progressor from deep. That's where you think the weakness is in the squad. I think that's what you're saying down here. Richie saying, any more evidence on what our game model is going to be? Ask me after the game on Saturday. All right? I think that's going to be the first time that we can properly say, ooh, we've got some examples of it here. Because we should be getting some training footage. I always look forward to doing those videos. I do them every year. Taking a look at some of the footage, saying, well, okay, how does that compare to last year? What changes or differences can we see? That's what I'm definitely going to be looking out for first and foremost in this preseason tour. Rather than individual performances, is what's the evidence we can see of the game model? What's different now with Ruud and René Hake in compared to last season? That's what I'm looking for. Don't we have a feeder club to loan young stars to, says Jason. Remember that back in the day? Royal Antwerp. We sent loads of players there. Marnik Vermael. Remember him? He went out on loan there. What else is he saying down here? Hooray, you're saying doesn't seem to be that ideal CDM on the market. Well, I personally think there is, and I think his name's João Neves, and Man United can't afford him. Truth be told. Couple of super chats, let me read these out. Seleka's saying, Ineos will get more players, we need patience. Well, this is going to be an interesting part of the window. I think we started so well, but it kind of feels like we're at a little bit of a stalemate over Ugarte, a little bit of a stalemate over Ligt. Currently, and that's the bigger problem for me, is what's going on with the sales, man. That's where we need movement. Jordan, you're saying, what about Kimmich? Is he available on a free next season? Kimmich feels like a United of old signing. How old is John? I'm guessing Kimmich is like 20... I would guess like 28. How wrong am I? 29, not too far. That's not the type of signing that Manchester United are looking at this summer. Age profile-wise, anyway. Akash is saying, in my opinion, we should walk away from Ugarte and get Rios. You see random reports saying that Rios was, Palmeiras are not going to let him go for anything less than his €75 million release clause. Okay. All right, mate. Seven Samurai is saying, get Fofana and Amrabat for 50 mil. PSG can shove it. Fofana, Amrabat. Would that be enough this summer for Manchester United? I'd be concerned. It could well prove to be enough, but I'd definitely be concerned. What else is he saying down here? 70 mil's too much for Ugarte. I'm scared United won't do any more signings, says Stephen. I'm not scared about that whatsoever. It's just I feel that United might have to dig their heels in at this point. Because there's no way that PSG gets 70 mil for Ugarte. There's a chance that Bayern get 50 for Ligt, but I think United have got a lot of power in those. I've already said this. Got a lot of power in those negotiations because we know full well that they need to sell. Let's go in for Andre at Fluminense, says Thomas. Interestingly enough, no one's really been linked with him. I think Fulham have been linked with him as a replacement for Palhinha. Liverpool were linked with Andre back when Fluminense were in the Copa Libertadores final. I think they won. He was getting heavy linked with the move to Liverpool, and then it's kind of gone. Nothing's really happened there. I think it's only Fulham who's really been linked with him. Bit strange. We need at least 2 more signings, says Jürgen. Well, I agree with you there. No way do we get João Gomez for 30 million from Wolves. He'd go for he's on the board, isn't he? Let's have a look. Pretty sure Gomez got linked. Well, that's quite earlier. There you can see there. You can see the age profiles, by the way, of just the players who were linked. This is why I'm saying that Joshua Kimmich is unlikely. Fofana 25, Zubimendi 25, Rios 24, Rabiot's 29. I wouldn't put that down as a possibility. Gomez down there is 23. I want to speak about this. This is just a little brief one. We've been linked with Xavi Simons. And again, I looked at it and said, again, hypothetically, if Manchester United were able to sell McTominay for a very good amount of money, which should be north of 30 million, then that's the only way that McTominay leaves this summer is if we get a bid north of 30 million. And we replaced him with Xavi Simons. That improves the technical floor of our football club. But reports here from Fabrizio saying that Leipzig are confident that they're going to get Simons, who of course is a PSG player. I think he was on loan at Leipzig last season. He was getting linked with Bayern Munich. They're spending 60 mil on Desire Doué. They want to sign Jonathan Tah, but they need to sell De Ligt first. I never really thought the Xavi Simons reports were going to go much further, and they haven't, if I'm being honest. Let's go read a couple of your comments out down here before we move into the final part of the show. Speaking about Mazraoui, and then we're going to be speaking about the preseason tour. Estrella. First of all, great name. Second of all, you've only just seen the whiteboards. Welcome to the whiteboards. It's one of the biggest attractions. Well, it's not an attraction, but a lot of graft went into these boards. So yeah, I hope they do help you all keep on top of the news more so than anywhere else. That's always the main purpose of the channel. So make sure you subscribe if you're new and you haven't got involved. But do you want to see something that make me laugh? I mean, would you laugh? I don't know. Maybe laugh's the wrong way to describe this. The Times reporting that Erik ten Hag believes the signing of Mazraoui could help unlock the potential of Antony. You what? Calm down. And the thing I would say to that first off, is don't get annoyed at the idea that Erik ten Hag is just trying to make signings, because it's not Erik ten Hag in control of signings anymore. He's made it abundantly clear that a lot of power in recruitment and scouting has been taken away from him. Right? I mean, there's no way that ten Hag is saying this. Maybe there is. Foxy just fell off my chair. I nearly did last night as well when I read this. If we sign Mazraoui, it will be because the club believes that he is the right back to fit in the game model that we are building, not because they think that it might make Antony play slightly better. Maybe that'll be an indirect consequence of signing him. But we spoke about Mazraoui yesterday, and a lot of you are concerned with signing him, concerned that he could just become a crock at Manchester United, which he absolutely could be, by the way. And I said it probably makes far more sense that we would sign someone like Kadioglu, who can cover left back and right back, rather than spending money on Mazraoui. That's what I think, so anyway. Jibak, thank you for gifting 5 memberships down there, dude. It is a good morning. Let's ask Casemiro. But
Good morning. Good morning. Hello.
That's a very random comment that caught my eye. AI suggested this channel to me, and I appreciate that. AI did you good. It's mad how AI is coming on, man. Jeez. The idea of signing Mazraoui doesn't move me. But if I'm totally honest, I don't think there will be a right-back signing that Manchester United can make this summer, that Man United can afford this summer, that's going to move me. I think Man United should be moving Wan-Bissaka on so we can reinvest it, rather than... There's 2 options here. I've already spoken about this a lot, but I'll say it one more time. If there's 2 options in front of us, one of them is keep Wan-Bissaka and then spend 30, 40 million replacing him next season when you've lost him on a free, or sell him, make 15 million, invest another 10 million or so, and then sign somebody this summer. That feels like that's where United are going, and it feels like that's what United should be doing. However, Kadioglu is somebody I really hope those links increase. There's no way that Man United is signing him to unlock Antony. That's a mad idea. Now, let's move on to the pre-season. Pre-season tour, the squad flies out today. We'll get confirmation of the travelling squad when it is released. And I saw all this coming out yesterday again. Right? The job cuts. Remember, Manchester United are going to be doing redundancies to reduce the workforce size by somewhere between 20 and 25%. It's a huge amount of workers that will be leaving, and we've already spoken about it. I'm saying, why has this come up again? I thought this was already done. I thought it was already in the accounts. It's just a bit weird. Why actually happened? Is that like another email or something? United were informed they are at risk of redundancy on Tuesday as the cuts drew a step closer. I just thought that's kind of old news. That's the way I looked at it. A little bit weird. Anyway, pre-season tour. Let's have a quick look at here. Van Nistelrooy and Hake. And as I said, my main focus on this pre-season and the content that I would like to do here on the channel is I'm going to be focusing on the game model. I'm going to be looking tactically and saying, well, where are the tweaks that we can see compared to last season? How does this pre-season tour and training compare to last season? Where is the evolution coming with the game model? That's going to be my focus. Simon, there wasn't a lunchtime video yesterday because I didn't think that there was a conversation that deserved... Sorry. Didn't think there was a conversation that deserved your time, so I didn't do one. But today, I'm probably going to do a full story on Fofana because I think that's going to be an interesting conversation to have. Anyway, there's Rene, there's Rude, there's the man himself, Yoro, who, of course, had a fantastic debut and just seems to be settling in. You got Højlund, who's back with the squad. I don't know what other players are joining up, right? There's another photo there of Collier, of Oyedele. And reports are suggesting that Xerxes will be in the squad for the Tour of America, which you would expect. Maybe he meets up with us when we're out there. I don't know. Maybe, I don't think he's in Carrington right now. And we're flying out today. So presumably he's just going to join up with us there. He might miss the Arsenal game, but maybe he'll play against Real Betis during the week. So we've got 3 games in the pre-season tour. We've got Arsenal first. Then I believe we've got Real Betis. And then I think we close it with Liverpool. And then a week after that, we play Man City in the Community Shield. That's going to be the curtain raiser for the season. It's not a competitive game, but it is a competitive game. It's like a glorified friendly, But it's a perfect way to start the season by playing against City and really seeing what this game model is. So we should be getting Xerxes there. We've got Euro there. In an ideal world, we'd have all our signings. But we haven't. So let's find out. Someone's saying that he is in Carrington. Let me see if anything else has been said on that then. Any updates? Nope. Not yet. Oh, the Olympics start in a couple of days as well. I'm looking forward to that. I love the Olympics. When the I lived in London when the Olympics came in 2012. And I was like, oh, yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. When it came around, there was such a buzz in London. It was like Olympics fever gripped London, and it was awesome. I didn't manage to get any tickets, but I managed to go to... I went with my whole family. We just went into the Olympic Park. We just kind of sat there and just watched stuff on the screens. We didn't manage to get any tickets. Let me see. I'm going to read a few comments out down here. We need one more game in between Liverpool and City. Hell no, man. That's how you get injured. Did you see that Chalobah wasn't included in the Chelsea pre-season squad? I did. I saw reports suggesting there's a price of 30 to 35 million, which seems a bit much. But Chalobah has been on the board. Go there. He's been on that board the whole time. Where is he now? Chalobah. Yeah, you can see him down there. He's like 7 from the bottom on the left-hand side. It'd be an interesting one. 35 mil, though. Did you review the Erik ten Hag interview in Dutch after... I'll be honest, Origami. I had that down on my list, and I completely forgot. That could have been a good video to do yesterday. And I've only just remembered. Damn. Away shirt is launching tomorrow, says somebody. I want to see the third kit. You see that video of... what's her name? MUTV. Zara. She was interviewing somebody before the game who was wearing like a Schneidy version of the third kit. And you could like, clearly the producer got in her ear and said, game off camera, game off camera. And then she just bolted like mid-conversation. Yeah, it's quite funny. I enjoyed that. Chelsea are a joke. They want too much for Gallagher and Chalobah. Yeah, they got that amount of money for Mason Mount, didn't they? Richie saying it was a phenomenal time to be in London. You saw Murray win his semi-final match. It's going to be Murray's last tournament, so I hope he does well. But, yeah, the main talking points from today are we're locked in negotiations over Ligt and Ugarte, and it feels like we've reached a bit of a stalemate. In the same way that we reached a bit of a stalemate with Branthwaite. Now, with Branthwaite, it was quite easy to walk away and look elsewhere. Is it with Ugarte and Ligt? I would probably say so. Ligt and Ugarte, if Man United signed both of them, our squad would be so much better. Are they the only signings we could possibly make in either of those positions? I do not think so. So that's why, and this is where Ashworth and Beretta and all that will, earn their stripes, is really going after alternatives. And I'm telling you, there is value in this market. Of course, every single year there is value in this market. You just need the scouts who can identify it and the perfect profile. And sometimes you need to take a little bit of a risk. Lenny Yoro is an expensive risk, but I think it'll pay off. I'm going to read a couple of your comments out down here before we finish the show. Helga saying, I don't think we will sign anyone before we sell. That's been reported quite a few times. The Man United are in that position now. I don't know whether it's strictly true, but certainly we need more. I hope the Sancho to PSG story gathers pace. That's probably the one I'm looking at the most right now. Casemiro to Saudi. I'm confused as to what's going on there. I really am. But Jadon Sancho to PSG is the one I want to see move, because I think that could really help with the Ugarte negotiations. And, well, I'd like Sancho to leave. I still would. Made that abundantly clear. Always have. If he stays, okay, he stays, and it's a fresh start. I would rather a fresh start by saying, good luck elsewhere. We're going to reinvest that money into someone else. Right. I'm going to wrap this up now. My lunchtime video, I think I'm going to do a full story on Fofana. I think that'll be a good video to do. Then the preseason tour squad's out. We'll do a reaction to that in the morning. If there's any breaking news, you know what to do. Come to United People's TV. Make sure you subscribe if you are new. And I will see you tomorrow morning. Take it easy.